welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this right here. Austin Reaves and Luka Dončić, two plumbers, carried their team over frail, slow, tired, skinny, of no help Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. What an embarrassment. And this should have been a blowout, but, you know, the Lakers let these guys get back in it in the fourth quarter. I mean, the Suns look like they didn't even want, you know, Durant to have the ball in the fourth quarter. I mean, Durant had like 4 turnovers. This guy is a joke, folks. And while you guys see this guy on the screen, it's just a reminder. I'm trying to tell you, this is not the same Kevin Durant. We made a whole video on this, how this guy, it just seems unlikely. It just don't seem possible that this guy could come into the league underweight. And that was the only knock on Kevin Durant. They knew this guy was a great scorer, but coming into the league, they said that he would have to gain weight. And actually, when we look at it from Texas to OKC to Golden State to the Nets, and now at the Suns, this guy has plummeted in weight. And we said before that at the end of the day, we don't know if he, you know, he looks homeless, he looks hungry, he looks tired, he looks frail, and he lost all this weight because maybe when he got that injury, when he was at Golden State, maybe he did some type of surgery and he went on something to get himself back on the court from that devastating injury. But something happened to Kevin Durant where he has lost all this weight and he's frail as can be. Guys, he looks tired. He doesn't, you know, he had a couple of rebounds. And I think he had like 7 rebounds. But, you know, I mean, at his height, he should be averaging 10 rebounds or better. Most of his rebounds wasn't competitive. I mean, you just get these rebounds because nobody's in the paint to battle you and stuff like that. I think he had 4 turnovers. And they just locked him down in the first half. I think he only had like 4 points in the first half. They were locking him down. A bunch of role player plumbers. I even seen Luka Dončić in the first half locking down Kevin Durant. You know, Luka was busting threes in his face. And, you know, this this team that is owed like 600 million, well, these 3 players, you know, Bradley Beal, Booker, and Kevin Durant, they just got embarrassed by 2 plumbers. And to me, it looks like they don't even need LeBron James. You know, if they bring back LeBron James, he would just mess up the flow. At the end of the day, if they win against good teams, yes, they could beat bad teams and win and stuff like that. But, you know, they really don't need LeBron James. And there's been so much, you know, a lot of people have been speculating he's on some secret suspension and things like that. We really don't know, folks. All we know is they really don't need him. I mean, they're not going to win a championship without him, but they wouldn't win the championship if he was there in the first place. So another embarrassing moment for Kevin Durant. He had 0 offensive rebounds. Let me see his shooting for this game. I thought he shot like 70% from the line. He was, let me see here, if I'm not mistaken, 6 for 7 from the field, 2 for 7 from the 3. He was horrible from the 3 in the first half. I think he was like 1 for 7, 7 for 10 from the line. No offensive rebounds. My mistake. He did have 9 rebounds, 2 assists. The guy does nothing. He's not a facilitator. 0 steals, 0 blocks. Actually had 5 turnovers. Was a minus 21, and he had 21 points. So I mean, I don't know what to say about Kevin Durant. All I got to say is he's robbing those fans for money. There's no way this guy shouldn't be putting up, you know, he's not LeBron's age yet, but there's no way he shouldn't be putting up 27 points per game in his weeks off era. Let me see what he's putting up for the season. He doesn't seem to put up good points. Well, he's put up 26 points for the season, 6 rebounds and 4 assists on 52% shooting. But, you know, he plays miserable against good teams. I think his team is, I think they're, let me see, the Suns are 31 and 37. I mean, they're way under 500. What an embarrassment for the Suns organization. Their coach, what's his name, Budenholzer, he's just sitting on the sideline, red as hell, and he should be fired immediately. This season is over. They're a joke. They don't play any defense. I mean, really, the defense played in this league is suspect. I mean, like I said, they play a weird defense. It's like the guy with the ball, double down on him so he'll throw to the open guy so that guy can just shoot an open 3. And if he don't shoot an open 3 because another guy comes off his man, he'll just throw it to the wide open man. And it's basically the NBA is a game of hot potato, shoot the 3. You know, you got to double the guy at the top of the key or the top of the 3-point line. So either he won't shoot the 3 on his guy or, you know, he don't drive in because there's nobody in the paint. It's just a weird game. But, you know, they're going to be all over Kevin Durant in social media. Even though he scored 21 points, they locked him down in the first half. Nobody's scared of Kevin Durant. All you got to do is get up on him. He's not really going to do nothing. He just, I don't know what's wrong with this guy. I mean, he can put up some buckets. He don't play any defense. He really don't rebound at a high level. He turns the ball over at a high. What did I say? He have 5 turnovers or 4? You know, he's just a joke. I think, like, you know, to cap it off, I think one of the Lakers players did a putback over his head. I mean, the guy is just, he just washed up, man. Yes, he can get you some points, and that's about it. He don't do nothing else for you, man. And that's the big knock on Kevin Durant. He's just a one-way player, and he don't rally. He's supposed to be the leader of that team, folks. He's supposed to be playing the defense first. He's supposed to be hitting all the big time shots. You just can imagine a guy like him. What I think I just said, he averages 26 points per game. Let me see how much Booker averages. Booker, I think for Booker's career, he averages like 25 points a game. Let me see. Booker, 25 points per game this year, and let me see. For his career, basically 25 points in 35% from the free throw line. And check this out. Let me see if I can hit on this. The Suns shot 39% from the field and 22% from 3. I mean, that's just crazy. The Lakers shot 35% from 3 and 43% from the field, which isn't, you know, world beater or nothing like that. Luka gave you 33. Let me see something real quick. Yeah. Okay. I thought that was something else. But Luka plus 18, 33 points, 4 turnovers. He's gonna give you those turnovers because he's always handling the ball. There's no excuse for Kevin Durant. He's not a facilitator. 2 steals. What he had, 8 assists, 11 rebounds, more than Kevin Durant, more offensive rebounds than Kevin Durant. Shot better at the free throw line than Kevin Durant, 13 for 14. Better from 3, 4 for 11, and he shot 8 for 20. Austin Reaves, 10 for 21 from the field, 4 for 10 from the 3, 4 for 5 from the line. We had rebounds 4. I think Kevin Durant had 9. 6 assists, 2 steals, more than Kevin Durant, 1 block, more than Kevin Durant. I mean, in 2 turnovers, less than Kevin Durant. Let me see something real quick. So Austin Reaves had 28 points, Luka had 33, more than Durant, and Hayes had 19, almost more than Kevin Durant. They didn't let Bronny get in this game for some reason. But what I saw was Kevin Durant, the guy is almost 7 foot, and he's sitting at the top of the key. He's sitting at the top of the key when guys are shooting free throws. I think his team was shooting free throws. So you don't even give your team a chance to get the offensive rebound, even though it don't matter that your team is shooting the ball. But maybe he does that too when the Lakers were shooting the ball. I'm not sure. I just looked up and I was like, where's Kevin Durant? He's not in the box when the free throws are getting shot. And I look over, he's at the half court line. I'm like, why is he at the half court line? It just goes to show you, man, like a lot of these guys, they don't have it in them, man. We talk about LeBron James in all those years, you know, what was it? Lakers, they were always hovering around the play-in, making the play-in because the defense. He's always had a good enough team to be in top 5 in that West. That West ain't been that good since he's been in there. But even in this soft week era, to be in the top 5 in the 2020s consistently, you would have to play a little bit of defense. So for his team to play defense, that would expose him because he's not going to play defense. So they can just hover around the play-in and make the playoffs through the play-in, and they're good to go. So LeBron James won't have to expend all that energy because he don't do nothing else, folks. If he would have to play defense like his team to be in that top 5, he won't be able to put up all the points, right? Maybe he would put up like 20 points and 4 rebounds and, you know, a couple assists. But because, you know, he don't play defense and he tells his team don't play defense, they can just lax the whole season and then he can put up all these crazy stats. So I'm done. We don't know what I'm not trying to say this is the best Lakers team, but they don't need LeBron James, man. Why would they need a guy that leaves them high and dry against the better opponents and they're almost winning? It's just nuts. Just think about that Celtics game. If LeBron would not have played the whole game, it would have been more competitive. They would have had a better chance to win. But, you know, we got to act like LeBron James is his shooter. We got to act like LeBron James is his facilitator. We got to act, well, his team does. They got to act like he's this great rebounder. So they got to box out and make sure he gets the rebound. The ball's got to be in his hand. And now it can't really be in his hand, but it has to be in his hand secondary to Luka Dončić. And he can't do the stuff that I was telling you. It's crazy how Luka Dončić because he's got real good handles, and it's just out of control in the NBA. So he came into the NBA with great handles, and now you can carry in this league. It's just like you can't do nothing with this guy, and he can just waltz on down the lane, and he doesn't have to do a stiff arm, and he can get his shots. But that's the opposite for LeBron James. Even though you can carry in this era, he still can't dribble, and he can't get his shots in the lane without doing a stiff arm or an elbow. I mean, that's incredible, folks. You just think how better Luka Dončić is than LeBron James. It's not even close. It's not even close. Like I said, LeBron James could never play in the 90s. He couldn't play in the 80s or nothing like that. And we got to remember, the only reason why he was that good in the early 2000s is because they cut out defense. They cut out defense. Now, I'm going to go back, because you guys know this irks me and stuff like that. That they're basically, we did a video on this, and we punched it up through Google, why these guys are allowed to carry. And they told us it's because for the entertainment value, to keep the game a fast pace. And the referees are basically told by the NBA to lax as far as the dribble movement, as far as them carrying 8 out of 10 times that they dribble, because they want a fast-paced game and they don't want to blow the whistle all the time. So you're basically telling me they can break the rules to play basketball. But you're trying to tell us at the same time that these American players and these international players are the greatest players of all time and are better than past players. But because of that, they make all this money, record-breaking contracts. We've always said, a lot of YouTubers always said that they should have to be held to the highest standard of dribbling in the 60s, the 70s, the 50s, the 80s, the 90s, and stuff like that, because they're supposed to be the best players of all time as far as skill level. And I mean, that's what they tell us, as far as skill level and things like that. And we're talking about the game evolving, right? So they should have to, dribble like these guys in the past, because they should be better, right? They should be quicker and all this stuff. But they get the standard lowered for them because it's really the opposite, right? Because they're trying to, we can see that they're not. So we all know what happened, folks. The evolution of the game really dropped off going into the 2000s. I would say around when we start getting beat in the Olympics, and we start getting beat in the FIBA and stuff like that, 06 and 2004 and stuff like that, the evolution of the game really dropped off, because we saw American players, they didn't want to be back to the basket players. They want to be, face up players, and that's fine. That's fine. But at the same time, you got to be able to be better than the international players. You want to be face up players like them? That means you got to hit these shots. That means you got to be fundamentally sound. And that's why they were getting beat by these international players, because they were like, we can be face up players and hit these shots. So it hasn't worked out for the American players. It really hasn't to that degree. And that even if you took 90s players or 80s players and you put them against these international players in the 2000s, in the FIBA, the Olympics, and you put them against those international players that said we want to be face-up players, guess what? Those 80s, 90s players would destroy those international players, because we could play any type of game. We knew who were the face-up guys, and we knew who were the post-up guys, the mid-range guys, the three-point guys. We could play at every single level. So they would get destroyed trying to handle those guys, those 80s and 90s players, because they could play at every level and play defense. This is the thing with these guys driving in the paint, and you need defenders to double down on them, because these defenders aren't good defenders, right? You would only double a guy coming through the paint if he came through the paint, right? You won't need to double him at the top of the three-point line. If he penetrated into the paint, guess what would be there? Well, it would be a power forward. It would be a center. But now these guys choose to play this soft, weak game to where it's 4 guys sitting on the three-point line, and sometimes 4, and there's nobody in the paint. So now automatically you got to double the guy with the ball, because he's going to break loose and drive down the damn paint. And now when you I keep saying, you double this guy, now you're leaving the guy open. He's going to throw to the open guy. And it's like hot potato all game. This ain't fundamentals of basketball, folks. And this is why the game has died, because they have brought in these non-fundamental players that don't know how to really play basketball, man. Anybody can. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, if the game was played like this back in, I don't know, forever, maybe in the 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, I'm just thinking about how many guys got cut back in those days. I'm just talking about back in my days, say like the 90s and stuff, like when I was growing up and playing basketball. I'm thinking about how many guys got cut because, they couldn't carry the ball, they couldn't travel, they didn't have to, play positional basketball. And, they imagine how many guys would have made the team back then. Now anybody can make the basketball team. Yes, you got to knock down shots, and all you got to do is be able to throw it to the open guy and penetrate the paint with nobody down there. It's ridiculous, man. So you basically got you got a couple great guys on the floor, but for the most part, it's a bunch of nobodies playing in this NBA. And they're trying to tell us these guys are all-time great players. These guys deserve record-breaking contracts. But, it's just sad because these are the guys that, have been in the game a long time, the James Hardens, the, LeBron James, the Kevin Durants, and, even the Curry to a certain extent. And these guys never pushed back on the rule changes. And we were telling you this the other day, and I made a video about them being able to pretty much carry the ball with every damn dribble. And what irks me is it's not out of distress, right? A guy's up on you and you may carry it like that or something like that, even though that would be called back in the day. Like you're in distress. Help me. So I'm gonna just carry the ball because the defender's all on me. As soon as the guy throws the ball to the other guy out of bounds, he just sits there and nobody's on him. He just starts carrying. I'm like, holy shit. So it's like, let it be known there's no dribble rules. But what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, we was making this point in another video. And we was watching an old Michael Jordan video. I think it was a game, and it was like 96, the Bulls against the Hawks, right? And they called Michael Jordan just in the first half. It was crazy, an offensive foul in I think carrying and something else. And I think 2 of the 3 violations, Michael Jordan just walked away. And these things I just talk about Michael Jordan because we know he's a higher standard. And when these things were called back in the day on Michael Jordan and other guys too, but when these things were called on Michael Jordan back in the day, 9 times out of 10 he didn't get mad, right? And it was a standard, right? You didn't parade or get up in the referee's face because that was the referee. That's what he was there to do. It wasn't like, yeah, let's go check instant replay. So if you have an instant replay, what do you have? You have officials that don't know how to do their job. And that's what these officials are today. They don't even know how to officiate a ball going out of bounds, folks. They don't know how to officiate a flop. They don't know how to officiate a dude throwing herself into another guy. They don't know how to do these things, so they need instant replay. And they also need instant replay because we just told you, there's no more rules like that. So they give these referees, these fake referees, instant replay because they're told not to be refs. So the instant replay has to go back and determine what really went on. But back in the day, it was no instant replay because the refs were held to the standard of being a ref. That's all it was, folks. Now, were they perfect? No. But 9 times out of 10, they did it right. So what I was telling you was, Michael Jordan didn't get mad 9 times out of 10 if he was called for a violation. And that was because he knew the referees were upholding. I think it was a push-off he did. Yeah, it was a push-off. So he didn't get mad because he knew that was their job, to uphold the standard. And if they wasn't calling it on Michael Jordan, how could he get mad if they didn't call it on Patrick Ewing or David Robinson or Hakeem Olajuwon or any player in the NBA? So what they called on him, he expected them to call it on other players, right? And them to call it on other players and them to call it on him. That's just how it was, folks. I just don't get it. There's no standard in this NBA for anything. And what I meant by using Michael Jordan, when I was talking about LeBron James and Kevin Durant and all these veteran players, they don't want no standard in this game. They want this game to be changed and made easy as they can. That's the standard they want. Only standard Michael Jordan wanted was him not getting punched and kicked in the air by the Pistons. You can imagine if the Pistons and the Knicks and some of these teams played back then. I'm not trying to say the Pistons were, the Knicks were kicking and punching them, but the pushing around defense and some of the stuff that the Knicks did in the way the NBA was played in the 90s, you couldn't even play like that back then or right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and watch some 2000s and see where they really carrying like today. I know they weren't allowed to, but I'm going to go see how many times in the dribble they were carrying. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch a LeBron James Cavs versus Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. And then I'm going to go watch, early on in LeBron's career, let me say about 2008, maybe 2008, 2009, LeBron versus Kobe, right? And then I'm going to go to about 2011, LeBron versus Kobe, and when LeBron was in Miami. And I'm going to see how much they carry. And I won't be surprised if LeBron was the one that was carrying the most, if anybody was allowed to carry in that era. So I'm going to make that video. But Kevin Durant, he's washed, man. He's washed. And he's lucky. There's no real rules in this game. but he's still getting paid all this money, and the rest of these players are too. And like I said, it's sad because there's no standard in this game as far as rules.